Right. Here we go. I know. Recording started. So people coming in now or not? Technology, you know, it's my strength. Hi everyone, everyone's just coming in now, so we'll just wait another sort of minute to get everybody through. Welcome everyone, we're just wait another 1 minute. Hey Zove.
Hey, how you going?
Good. All right. Well, let's get started today. Welcome everybody to our fourth in the series of Lunch and Learns. And just before we get started, I'd like to introduce you all to Tanya Robertson, our interim CEO, who has been with the FCA over 14 years. And I'm not allowed to say any more than that as far as years go.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, look, I just wanted to jump in and say hi. Obviously, new into the role, been here for a week and a half. But as Helen said, I'm sure I can't see who's on the call, because we've only got a snapshot, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that I know or have met over the years and will continue to meet, particularly for those of us who are going up to conference in a couple of weeks. But yeah, look, I've been in franchising for more years than I can remember. We've got echo. Better? Beautiful, that's right. I don't need to hear myself back, that's all right. So today, so basically, sorry, let me try that again in English, shall I? I've been doing a lot of talking, as you can imagine. But it's been a great week. I've been in franchising, again, more years than I will absolutely admit to, and been lucky enough that I've worked with some of the larger brands as well as some of the smaller brands. So I'm particularly excited about working with the FCA and really, putting together the conference. That's been our main priority, obviously, at the moment, and along with memberships. So you will all be receiving at some stage by the end of today an update and a membership offer for Early Bird, which is quite exciting. It's something we haven't done before, and I think that's going to be a great value for you in that. Today, of course, is all about comm strategies and local area marketing. And it's funny, I've recruited for a lot of different brands, and it's the one thing that franchisees will drive you nuts about, because all of a sudden they all think that they're becoming a marketing expert, even though they've got no idea whatsoever. So any tools that you can use that will actually help you manage their expectations, but equally give them the ability to localise where they need to, but for you to actually still keep control over what the look and the feel of the brand is, I think is really important. And I know Brent's going to be able to take you through a whole heap of things on what to think about. Some of you already have programs in place, but I'm sure you're going to learn some of the intricacies about it, because obviously your brand protection and brand awareness is critical to why people come to you at both franchisee level and customer level. So thank you for supporting the FCA. As I said, the guys are going to run the program from now. For those of you who are coming up to conference, I really look forward to meeting you all up there. And if not, then I will be certainly going to the other events that are planned around the country as well. So I look forward to meeting everyone in person over the next couple of months or so. Enjoy the session.
Thank you, Tanya. And I'm going to now give you Brent Everett from Dokio.
Oh, that's a nice start. Thank you. Yes, all right, thank you. And thanks, Tanya, although she's left the room. Tanya probably did a better job of explaining everything than I'm going to try and do now. But might jump to the next one there. So just very quickly today, I know we don't have a lot of time, but and as Tanya said, there's probably a lot of you on this call that already have local area marketing plans and toolkits and whatnot out there. We'll touch on local area marketing a little bit, but part of that local area marketing is the changes coming to Google, and we want to run through that with you so you're all a bit more informed if you weren't aware. And then we'll close off and open up for questions. So just in case anyone doesn't know, local area marketing, or LAM as we're going to keep referring to it, is a marketing strategy that aims to connect with your local audience. Okay, so LAM can involve any activities that can help promote brand awareness for your local businesses. So a LAM campaign can have many touch points with many different calls to actions. And some of those examples I've put down here. So events can be quite crucial. It's a great way to interact with the brand. Letterbox drops, even in this digital age, they're still quite important. In a way, it is almost bringing that brand into your customer's home. And it is a way to sort of have them put you in the pocket, put you in their pocket and take it around to the school drop and show it to the other people and invite them to come into your store or hire your service. Digital ads. So online ads, of course, are very, very important and should form part of your LAM strategy. Now, whether that is doing geo-targeting, geo-fencing, or just general brand awareness, that all depends. Print ads are still important today. We can really be smart around how you do print ads for local area marketing. We think about walking through a shopping center and having an ad, in the middle of there saying turn left in 100 meters to get to our store, or taking advantage of something that might happen in the community. I don't know, if a tree falls down and you've got an A-frame that you can pop out and say, call my tree servicing company. You can have all that stuff sort of ready to go. Really hard to do that digitally. Promotional items, a bit like the letterbox drops, it's a way to have an interaction with your customers. It's, you hand out at the events, you might even put it in a letterbox. And it's a way, depending on your service, to have people interact with you as well and as act as a refresher. Socials. So really the way we think about socials is where your customers see you once they know you or once somebody they know knows you. But Google is really where the customers are searching for you and where they can jump in and see what others are saying about you. So to be successful, in our opinion, LAM needs to be authentic. We need to demonstrate local knowledge, use local references, and ensure the content is relevant to that local area. In some instances, co-branding is really important. That might be for the local footy club, could be the local school, it could be at a community event or a fete or something like that, local police station, whatever it is, where you might want to have an association with that brand in your area and show that you really understand what's important in that area. To be able to respond. So tree falls down and you want to put a sign up, if there's something that's happening in the local area, a way to be able to demonstrate you understand what is happening. We want to always make sure that there's up-to-date information. This sounds like it's pretty obvious, but when you've got a lot of people out there possibly trying to do their own thing, you'd be surprised how many times an address gets spelt wrong or a name gets spelt wrong or something like that, and that can really put someone off pretty quickly. My background before I worked at Dokio was as a graphic designer, so I'm always personally looking at brands and making sure that brands look good and criticizing the design of things. And your audience is going to do the same. So you want to make sure that it is well designed and correctly branded. After all, those franchisees have bought into that brand. So to be really successful, and I put this from a business ops point of view, having the franchisees follow your lead, but empowering them to be able to tailor creative and the offers, the promotions, whatever it is, without a reliance on you. What we want to do is, avoid bottlenecks. Franchisees are really good at wanting to be able to do things themselves, or perhaps they don't have the skill set though to do that. And you want to make sure that you can make it as easy as possible for them to be able to do things themselves and not be, the bottleneck at head office. they know their local area. You might know the business, you might know the brand, might understand franchising, but they should be understanding their local area. And so we want to be able to leverage that knowledge of that. Something that works in one area may not work in another. One of our clients is Headspace. And for those who don't know, Headspace is a not-for-profit organisation focusing on youth mental health. And they operate throughout the country, and they will have one campaign that runs throughout all of Australia, but they can't use the same photos in every region. It just wouldn't resonate going into certain areas showing different demographics. So Headspace rely on those local centres to know what imagery is going to work best and to be able to have the most buy-in. Of course, we don't want to damage the franchise brand. That is something that we don't want to put in the hands of people who don't know what to do. So we want to protect that. And then last of all, to be really successful, you want the buy-in from your franchisees on all activities. So to successfully empower franchisees to implement and manage the LAM, you either need to be really responsive to their requests, and let's be honest, do you have the time to listen to what franchisees believe you need to provide them in order for them to be able to engage with their local communities? I'm going to guess in most cases, no. And if you have got that time, you're not going to have the time as you scale and grow your business. You either need to have really deep pockets to facilitate all of the marketing requests, a really big team to manage, either internally or externally, and a lot of time. And one of the things we know from talking to pretty much anyone in any industry is that those four things are things a lot of people are struggling with at the moment. But by not giving your franchisees a proper LAM resource, you run the risk of franchisees disengaging with the franchisor, franchisees doing their own thing, which can result in damaging the brand, damaging their own reputation, and possibly causing conflict and tension between the franchisor and the franchisee. We don't want franchisees spending unnecessary money on agencies and getting designers to come in and take what you had as a good intention and trying to do things themselves. They're going to be spending their time unwisely. They're going to be wasting their money. In the process of that, they're going to stop running their business efficiently. They might miss sales, might miss opportunities. There could result in brand confusion in the market, compliance errors, so on and so on and so on. So I'm going to pause for a moment on talking generally LAM and keeping an eye on the time and talk about Google, which is absolutely a very critical part of any LAM strategy. A few years ago, it probably would have been just people talking about SEO, but this is all going to change a lot. So according to Google, over 1 billion people access data from Google business profiles every month, whether they know that they are accessing that information or not. Search near me is now how people are starting to search rather than search for specific businesses. Now, the way you think about SEO is about to change. To be ready for sort of the best position with what's coming with what Google calls Search Generative Engine, when that launches later this year, there's a few things that we're recommending that people should start doing. So when SGE launches in market, your brand, your franchise, your franchisees are all ready to take advantage of these changes. So what is Search Generative Experience? Some of you may have heard this. Apologies if you know all of this, but the more conversations we have, it seems that less people are aware that this is actually coming. So the upcoming SGE uses advanced technology that integrates AI and natural language processing, aiming to provide search results that are not only more relevant and considered, but also contextually rich. So while we wait for SGE to officially launch in Australia and disclose a comprehensive catalogue of everything they're going to bring, we know now that it is in beta testing in the US, in some other countries, and we've been playing around with this over in the US to try to understand as much as we can. It's going to have a huge impact on engaging locally, and you can have a more impactful LAM toolkit and be ahead of the curve if you are ready when this launches. Okay, this is where I tell you a little bit more. SGE will enable Google to understand the context and meaning behind search queries, allowing for more precise and relevant search results. It goes beyond simple keyword matching and takes into account the intent behind a user's query. Using technology to comprehend the natural language used in searches. So this helps Google grasp the details of human language, making searches feel more like a chat and easier to use. It looks at things like where you are, what you searched for before, devices you're using to give you results that are also personalized and specific to your location. Okay, might have to click that again. We'll just go click, click, click. There we go. Didn't realize we had our animation on there. So this is just a quick review of what Google search currently looks like. So you're putting your search query at the top. We've gone with best car dealer in Springvale. We can see that you have to scroll and you will see some recommendations based off of maps. You'll go through the sponsored stuff and you keep going, and then you start to get to the organic searches underneath. We're all familiar with that, and we know that to sort of prompt and get ourselves higher up in SEO, it normally costs money, and there's strategies in place to do that, which we're not going to talk about now. Okay, so what's going to change? It might not look that different, but I'll take you through some of the big changes here. So we type in a conversational query. This is using the beta testing that's currently in the US. So we might say, who is the best dealer in Springvale? And we might ask with the highest customer satisfaction. So we now have starting a conversation with Google. What's going to change in the search review is that the Google business profile now becomes the major source of information for your search. Sponsored profiles can display up there as sponsored, but they're going to have less space. Google reviews are prominent, so we can see on the left there. So we've got maps, we've got some information. The next column is going to be showing reviews. Combination of summarizing Google reviews and Google's AI telling you what that overarching sort of review is for them, or it may show you individual reviews. Click one more. It says, yeah, okay. And then suggested websites have got less real estate now. So they appear up in the corner. It's where we've got that Honda badge and a couple of other smaller logos there above the map. All this data is being fed in from mostly the Google business profile. I think there's one more. Oh, I'll go back one.
Yeah.
Now, the big change that's happening here. So if you were to ask Google a question now, and you might say, best car dealer in Springvale with the highest customer satisfaction, and you want to dig a little deeper, you have to start a new search. Google's now going to let you continue on that conversation. So from here, we might say follow-on questions, and we might ask specifically about car models or personalities of the staff or things like that. And Google's going to remember that conversation. So that's going to be able to go back and forth for several searches. And it's really going to help you hone in on getting the information that you look. And this is all happening within Google.
So Brent, I might at this stage just say, has anyone got any questions? If you do, just take yourself off mute and ask. Otherwise, you can pop it in the chat and Yvette will highlight it for us. But this is really interesting stuff. So has anyone got any questions right now to ask Brent?
Excellent.
No questions yet?
All right.
That's all right. We'll keep going.
Keep going on. Okay, so some of the other things with Google. So customers will move from search referencing keywords, asking all those complete conversational questions. So we are really, where Google's going to be empowering this is that, for example, we've got what are the best-selling MG models from Waverley MG? And Google's going to start a conversation with us. It's not going to just give us search results. We can see in the screen on the bottom left, it is actually summarizing Google websites, Google reviews, Google business profiles, and Google's AI is telling you what that answer is. And then similar, oh yeah, that's fine. So we'll move on. So customers are also going to be asked to be able to ask targeted questions whilst on a website. So we can see here we've got a website over the big red area is the website, and over on the right is the Google plugin. And from that, we're going to be able to ask Google to search through a website and give us the answers. we believe, and if anyone from Google is on this call, this is probably where they'll jump in and talk over the top of me, but I'd welcome it. But what we believe is that Google's really trying to say goodbye to websites. They're trying to get 0 clicks. So you can ask Google a question, Google will use your website, your business profile, all those things, and be able to serve up the answer to you without you having to click, 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 click. Now, it's probably a couple of stages away. The first stage is really, 2 clicks to get your answer. We know that they're already talking about trying to go to 1 clicks, and we just sort of anticipate that it is to get into 0 clicks once we see this sort of stuff here. Now, there are a bunch of strategies in place around how you do the back end of your website and long tails and all that kind of stuff about how you can leverage this better. I'm going to leave that to one side because I'm not a web expert or builder. We're going to keep this on some local area marketing please. Next one, please. So really quickly, there's a bit of information there. A bit of a summary on the left, using some color codes to help out and help show how the prioritization changes. On the left, the standard search engine results. I've gone blank what the P stands for, but anyway, search engine results versus the SGE results. And so on the left, we've got the paid ad going to the top. It's followed by sort of the more organic stuff down the bottom. And if we look at where SGE is going, Google's going to push that SGE experience to the top. Now that area, as we saw in the earlier screenshots, can take up quite a bit of real estate on the screen. It's going to be big maps, lots of reviews. Depending on your question, it could be really small, it could be really big. But essentially, it's pushing your paid ads down. That paid ads is going to reduce in size, and it's going to start pushing its own machine learning onto the page. Essentially, last point on there, organic just got a bit harder. Oh, look, sorry. Well, we'll stop there. All right, so a real quick breakdown for your all customers. So those customers, we're coming back to that local area marketing piece here. Customers will get better at bundling their searches. We know people are just going to evolve and they're going to adapt to this. It's Google, we don't have a choice. It's going to result in less screen switches and less opportunity for conversion. The AI is going to target the delivery to the consumer, and the more time they search, the faster and the more effective the result will be. Searching for and asking for information will become even more ingrained in the buying cycle. Consumers will see customer reviews and third-party referrals and comments very, very clearly. For our franchisees, Google Business Profile just became the core source for organic search ranking. If your business profile, which formerly was Google My Business, so it is the same thing, it is the migration or the evolution of that. Your GPP is not, if it's not updated regularly, you're going to be downranked in those searches. And the data we're getting from Google is that all your data on your Google Business Profile is essentially going to be ignored by Google after 90 days. So if you are not posting regular updates onto your profile, you are going to drop. Websites will become searchable. And again, we come back to the 0-click searches. And the customer's voice is going to be the thing that your prospects see first and foremost. It is going to be really visible on those reviews, and we'll touch on those in a moment. Okay, so very quickly, what can we do about it? It's a great opportunity. At this point, Google Business Profile is still free. There aren't real big costs associated with it. Skeptics in the room might go, well, there is a price to pay. It's just not monetary, but it's the way of the world. But so essentially keep your Google Business Profile updated and relevant. And that includes business information, things like opening hours, putting those images up, posts. Google, however, machine learning is able to detect if a single post is being used across multiple business profiles. So if you're a franchisor and you think just putting up one post on something to do with local area marketing and thinking you ask every franchisee to upload it to their business profile, Google's going to go, that's the same. I'm not going to rank it very high. Instead, everybody putting up a version of that offer, you know, maybe it might be using the suburb or the business name or something like that, Google's going to say, it's similar, but it's different. Good job. We're going to put you higher up in the ranks. And as I mentioned there, that last point again, that 90 days, and that might not seem like much. It's once a quarter, essentially. We don't know when the actual 90 days is going to kick in and what the start date of that is. But it's one way of Google going, okay, these aren't serious businesses. These are just people who've got information on the web that they're not actually updating and looking after and maintaining. We're just going to ignore them. We want people to come to Google and we want them to have a really fantastic opportunity and a fantastic time and get what they want. And having Google business profiles out there that are not updated and relevant is going to result in a really bad experience. So it's their way of kind of pushing those out. So ensure your franchisees can quickly and easily update their Google business profiles. Allow them to create content on a regular basis to remain relevant. Posting local content will impact their results. Now that might be photos when they're at an event, it could be offers, it could be those campaigns localized, all of those things. Upload local content, really important. Sounds a bit repetitive, but this is the way to get ahead of the curve. So when SGE launches, we believe later this year in Australia, you're already ahead of the curve and you've got that mentality in place for everyone to just go, all of a sudden I'm getting higher up on the search results without even thinking about why. So really important to make it part of the strategy. It's a bit of a shift from thinking just SEO, and it is now thinking about how you can leverage Google's new tech. For Google reviews, really important to get everyone seeking and encouraging those reviews. It may not feel like part of a local area marketing strategy traditionally, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who's noticed the little Google review tablet, little sort of discs that are now at cafes, or people sending out surveys after an interaction with a client or something like that. It is purely to everyone getting on board and trying to get ahead of this before it launches. Avoid the temptation to do any fake reviews. Google's machine learning now detects fake reviews. It looks at the person who posted it, it analyzes it against their business profile, or if they don't have one, it looks into any Google sort of information on them. And it is, I think this started about mid-2023, and they're running these tests, and it's pretty accurate at being able to pull out fake reviews. But the other important part of this is the interaction with people who review. So respond to reviews, positive or negative. That is also going to help with your SGE experience. There's a quote here, which is from the Director of Business Outreach at Yelp. And he said, if you respond to a 1 or 2 star review within 24 hours, you have a 33% higher probability of that person coming back and upgrading their review. So what can you do? A lot of the things I've already said, sort of summary here, but in terms of looking at local area marketing, really think about making the data work for you. You have data on all of your franchisees. Your franchisees have a lot of data on themselves. And how can we take that data, or how can you take that data and make it work smarter? So, for example, how can you take the information you have on them and automatically apply that throughout content so that they don't have to think about things? And it's going to free up your time and remove those repetitive tasks. As move forward, utilizing systems to provide you with control and oversight. So by franchisees feeling empowered by self-service, you'll give the impression you're always providing the support that they need. Understanding the needs and skill sets of your franchisees. So looking how you would manage Google Business Profile, local area marketing, content creation, all of those things. You are going to have some franchisees who want to do a lot, some who want to do none, some who don't know how to do anything. Consider that when you go through your systems. There were some really good points on last month's Lunch and Learn with Brendan about implementing systems and bringing in tech to your company. If anyone missed that, I'd absolutely recommend go back and watch that webinar. It was fantastic and has a lot of key learnings about what to consider before bringing in tech and automation. I would say for thinking about local area marketing with your franchisees, think about the entire journey. Think about the creative, think about how the creative can be implemented across your network, and then even consider the delivery points. Is this something that's better to be printed on demand versus bulk printing? Have you thought about SMS marketing? That's something we haven't touched on here. Email blasts, all of those things, as well as the things that we mentioned earlier on. Essentially, make every franchisee feel like an expert and let them focus on running their business. So, closing. Before I do this, maybe if there's any questions on that.
Yes, does anyone have any questions? I do have one because it's very, very interesting. But what's sort of the one thing that Dokio could do to help us to be well prepared before towards the end of the year when it does go live? What's one thing that Dokio could help us with?
I think if there was one thing, so I might jump to the next screen, which will help maybe because maybe not everyone knows what Dokio is. But essentially, Dokio was founded in 2015 to provide businesses a solution to on-demand content creation at scale. So how can we help with local area marketing and rolling that out throughout your franchise network? There's some of the people we currently work with. Each of those has a similar problem. They have head office team. They need to create content, whether it be sales material, local area marketing, corporate comms, whatever it is, email campaigns, Google Display Network ads, all of those things. They need to create and they need to empower all of their distributed network to be able to do things themselves on a self-service level, utilizing automation or giving them control within constraints, an illusion of choice. So they can go in and perhaps change the heading or a call to action, but they can't change.
Sound has stopped. Sorry. Sound has stopped. It's muted.
Oh, thanks, Yvette. Shall I go back to the start? All right, everyone strap in. No. So I think in terms of Dokio helping with that, getting that ready for that SGE, but also just local area marketing in general. Look, we have dynamic templates. We work, let's say, I'll give you an exact example with Nissan. We work with our creative agency to do all of their above the line campaigns. It all goes onto Dokio's templates, and 186 car dealers log into Dokio, and everything features their name, their website, their phone number, without them having to think. Really simple way of using our system, but they're going to start using us for managing the Google business profiles of each car dealership. So they'll be able to promote, take national campaigns and put a local twang on it. They'll be able to say which cars they're trying to sell this month. They'll be able to put the photos up of, I've just bought a new car, and all that content is going to help push that car dealership up the ranks. It's also going to help Nissan overall as well. But really, we're thinking more here about that franchisee over there. So whether it is dynamic content, social content, static content, that's how I can see us really helping.
I was just looking at the chat. Has anyone got any questions? Just take yourself off mute. Feel free to ask.
No questions in the chat at this stage.
Excellent. Well, for those then, so if you have been to any franchise events, you might be wondering why there are robots there. If you haven't been to one, that's our promotional item. We have little robots, and we're happy to hand them out to anyone who comes and says hi. But we go
at an FC.
So quickly, just real quick, because I think this deck gets sent out. I am Brent. I'm the CEO of Dokio. I've been here since 2017. I used to be a client of Dokio. I ran design studios in-house. I had to use Dokio to scale my creative work, my team's creative work, amongst a lot of people who didn't understand creativity or brand. It was a small brand worth about $50 billion. That might use the colors yellow and red and might work. Somebody once referred to it as a Dutch-based petroleum company. So we had to protect our brand, and we had a lot of people working at that company, and our team just couldn't keep up. And so I implemented Dokio and I jumped ship. And it's been a long time since. But if anyone would like to connect with me after this meeting, my email address is there. I'm also on LinkedIn, and happy to have a chat on the next one. And if you don't want to do that, we will be at cross promotion. We will be at Cairns. That's us there. We'll be on booth 8, opposite the coffee. So go get a coffee and say hi. Grab a robot, have a chat. We're happy to talk about anything that Dokio does or any of those other things. As we've been going through this journey, particularly around the Google changes, we're meeting lots of really nice other companies out there. So we know there are companies who can enable sort of mass management of those Google business profiles and trick Google's algorithm in there and be able to let people still manage their own business profile, but to have like oversight over everything that is happening. People in SMS marketing world, things that we don't focus on, but we know are really important to people there. And yeah, business profile and Google reviews. That's the other one. We know we've made friends with a company who can do that overall management of Google reviews without taking it away from franchisees. We'd be happy to discuss about all of those as well if those are things you're interested in. I think that's it.
Excellent. So yes, see you in Cairns.
Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you, Brent. And Dokio is also a Member Plus member. So they're an associate member of the FCA, and they do offer a very good member benefit, which is.
Hoping you remembered. Too busy thinking about the presentation.
But it's really good.
It's a really good discount. I think we do a really good discount on our licensing.
Yes.
Yes. I have to look it up.
That's all right. I'll put you on the spot. So I will send all that when we send the recording to everybody. So our next webinar is coming to us on Wednesday, the 5th of June. So if you're registered for this, I will resend you an invite. And it is hosted by BDC Partners. So they will be talking about leveraging technology for talent pooling, which is a really interesting topic as well. So looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you for your time, and we're finished well ahead of time. Yay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.